Girl basically wrote in and was like, "Oh, this is my fiance. I'm in love with him. I want to walk down the aisle to him. Like, I want to take this next step in our relationship, but I know that he still has feelings for his childhood crush, who was this girl that he met on Xbox when he was 16 years old." And so, we get with him and we're talking to him. He's telling us the story and like had this tumultuous relationship in high school with this girl who, was 18. Or I think she said she was 18. I don't even know. She was a teenager also, though. Both teenagers. They met on Xbox. He was madly in love with her. And, she put him through a lot. And then they ended up breaking up and he basically never heard from her again. Long story short, fast forward, we meet the girl who's actually the girl in the pictures. And we're thinking that that's who he's been talking to. Come to find out it was actually her mom. And her mom was in her 40s talking to 16-year-old boys on Xbox.
Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with Kamie Crawford, friends. We're going to be talking about some health stuff you've gone through. We're going to talk a little bit about Relationship, your podcast, based on some relationship you dealt with. And hopefully we'll get to a little Sports Illustrated as well. And then, of course, Catfish. There's a lot of ground to cover.
That's all. Let's just host one of the biggest shows on MTV. That's not a big deal, really.
And here's the thing.
They don't repeat it 10 times a day.
The first episode went way longer than I thought it was going to, because somebody keeps talking about, I don't know, whatever nonsense you're talking about over there, honey. No, I'm kidding. But I have an appointment with a diabetes nurse that I can't miss. So Kevin might have to jump on and take over for me. But first and foremost, the health stuff you've gone through led you to make some kind of big decisions in your life. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Ooh, well, there's a few things. So I was going through a lot of stress last year in 2023. And it was just like conjuring up all these things in my body. They say that your stomach is your second brain. And I developed all these gut health issues that I never had before, and I could not figure out what was going on with me. Long story short.
What were you feeling?
Well, gassy, bloated all the time, no matter what I ate. Doubled over anytime I would eat anything, pasta or bread or anything like that. Depressed, like mild depression, just like very, very low energy. I was taking like 3 naps a day.
Wow.
And I was just feeling really sad. And I was just like, what is this? And so much anxiety, like a lot of anxiety. And a lot of it I could attribute to the stress part of it, but I was like, there's something else going on here. So I got with a naturopathic gut health specialist, and he, did a full scan of me, a parasite test, SIBO test. I did test positive for SIBO, so small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which was causing the bloating and the misery. But then also I realized that I just had a really bad gluten sensitivity. And what's interesting though is he's amazing, not knocking him at all, but he never asked me. He asked me if I was on birth control, and I said yes, but we didn't talk about it in depth. But I had at the time had been on birth control for 18 years. And I think between the stress and then the long-term use of the birth control, my gut was just obliterated. And I don't want to ever fearmonger about birth control. I think that it's great. It's your choice to be able to do with your body what you wish. But for me, I realized that it was taking a toll on my body. And I was already thinking about getting off of it because, like I said, I'm 31. I want to have kids one day. I'm just like, okay, let me just like reboot my bodily systems.
Prepare the vessel.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I want to get off this birth control thing. And then as I started doing more research and reading and just diving into what birth control does to your body.
What does it do?
Well, girl, it's a lengthy list. So, when you get, I don't know, have you ever been on birth control?
I was for a very long time. And I will share that when I went to the fertility doctor, they said that I had 0 system.
Yeah.
I was dead and that I couldn't have kids, and I was devastated. And then I got off the birth control, did some acupuncture, and everything magically came back eventually. Yes. So you can never take that one word for granted.
Yes.
But also the birth control is pretty rough on us. And
Yeah.
Ricky Lake did an amazing documentary on it that everyone should watch.
I haven't seen this.
I don't even know if it's actually out yet. I think I got an early screening of it months ago. So maybe it is out now. I don't remember what it's called, but Google Ricky Lake and birth control and you'll find out.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Well, I think we forget that when we open up a new pack of birth control pills, because I was on the pill, there's a big ass piece of paper that comes with that's folded up into a teeny tiny little square. That thing has all of the risk factors and like everything that you can expect. And I would take it, toss it,
but by the
pop
way,
my pill.
Kamie, we all did it.
Yeah.
We do it with everything.
Yeah.
We do it with everything.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, which is why I do this show every day. Cause I'm like, we need to sound the alarms. Like just because everyone's doing something doesn't mean it's right. It's not normal to just, even the iPhone, we just hit okay.
Yeah.
We don't even know what we're hitting okay for.
No, we don't even read the terms and conditions. We don't care. Except I'm trying to use my phone. I don't want to, I'm trying not to get pregnant, you know? Like I don't care what it comes with. At the time, I didn't. And I don't regret having used the pill because I was able to do a lot of things with my life. I had really bad cramps before and I was missing so much school. I got it when I was 13. Like most millennials, I feel like it was the, one trick pony for any issue you had. Acne, take the pill. Don't want to get pregnant, take the pill. Bad cramps, take the pill. And so I don't regret it. But if I had the information that I have now, I would have gotten off of it way sooner. Yeah. Even in my early 20s, knowing that like I want to be a mom one day, there's no way that I would have stayed on it for this long.
So what do you think it did to you?
Well, I think between the long-term use of it and the stress that I was under, my gut was just like, oh, no. And then on top of that, I had a history of chronic tonsillitis my whole life. I always would get strep throat. And so I ended up getting my tonsils out in 2019, which helped me tremendously because I would get strep like 5 times a year.
Wow.
So I was one of the later surgery people because they say that it's better to get the surgery sooner than later. But I didn't. And by the time I got my tonsils out, every time that I would get strep 5 times a year, I was on antibiotics. So I think my gut was just like, bitch, you're doing too much. We're done with you. Goodbye. Like, you don't have our help anymore. And my gut had just like left the building. So I was just having a lot of problems. And, the gut health doctor had put me on like a regimen of a bunch of different enzymes and supplements and things to try to build my gut health bacteria back up. And while those things were helping, I knew that the pill was probably something just in my gut was telling me that the pill.
Your other brain. Isn't it funny that they say the brain, the gut is the other brain?
Yeah.
It didn't just hit me until right now that we say our gut told us, just like our brain would tell us.
Gut instinct, funny. Gut, like, trust your gut. Like, why do they say that? Because it's real. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to get off of this thing. I wanted to do it the proper way. I didn't want to quit cold turkey. I wanted to, just finish out the pack. I was terrified because I was about to shoot for Sports Illustrated for the 3rd year. And I was like, oh my God, like if I have my period during Sports Illustrated shoot, like what is going to happen? I didn't know what my body was going to go through after 18 years. When your ovaries and your brain are not communicating, I tell everyone it's like you were best friends in high school, but you haven't seen each other in 18 years. And then for whatever reason, you had a falling out and now you're meeting back again. And you're like, wait, you have kids now? Wait, where do you live? Like they're communicating for the first time in a long time. And there was beef. Like they were at war for a little bit and now they're communicating again. But same thing. I went to a fertility specialist because I was like, okay, what's going on in there? And he was like, nothing's going on in there because you haven't ovulated in 18 years. And I was in shock because I didn't know that birth control stopped ovulation. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I wasn't getting my period. I wasn't getting pregnant.
Well, we don't really know our bodies. No one teaches us our bodies.
Exactly. And so I got an acupuncturist and I started taking, all of these supplements and trying to just get my hormones back in check. And luckily I got my period back right away. I've had regular monthly cycles ever since. It's been, I got off in February and honestly very happy, even though
Do you
I am
think
going
the
to get my period
depression was
tomorrow.
tied
so.
to the was the
That's not
depression
great.
tied to the gut issues in
Mhm.
general, or do you think it was part of the birth control situation?
I mean, it's hard to tell, but I do know that, from what I've understood about gut health, like when your stomach is in a bad place, it puts your brain in a bad space. Like
Mhm.
it's directly correlated. There is no confusing it. It's directly correlated. And I think it was just making a bad situation worse.
Yeah.
To be on a long-term medication like that just comes with so many different side effects as it is. And then on top of just everything else that was going on in my life, it was just too much. I just had too much.
Are you able to share what was stressing you out so much?
You
don't have to. I just didn't know if it was something that we were supposed to have known.
No. It was a lot of things. It was a combination of a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And I, as a result, just dropped all those things. It wasn't worth it to me anymore to not, be able to feel like I was in control of my own body and my own feelings. And, I just feel like in general, I think that we tend to say yes to a lot of things that we know we should say no to. Like we
Mhm.
don't trust those gut instincts, literally. And then they can have long-term effects on your health. And I just don't believe in that anymore. I don't
Yeah.
believe that I need to be stressing myself out to the point where it's affecting my physical health when I have goals of things that I want to do and be and how I want to live. Stress can literally kill you.
Yep.
And I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm going to be an old lady in my bed, like the Notebook. I think me and my man are going to be side by side going together,
I love it. No, you have to at some point make choices that, are big. And those are those big
Yeah.
moments where you choose you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt like that's what I had to do, no matter who was going to feel what about it. Like in the long run, I think that everyone wants for you to be happy and healthy. And, whether it's friends or a relationship or a job or whatever it might be, you got to say goodbye if it means that, it's going to help you live longer.
Yeah.
I'd rather live longer and happier.
Yeah.
Or
whatever you're going to live, you want to live it well.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
what I always think is like, whatever time I have, I don't know what time I have. I want it to be living healthily and well.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's time to take a break.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it is about taking a break, honey. Thank you for that. Heal Squad, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more from Kamie and Kev. That could be a show.
Great
Yes.
show. Great show.
We are back. So you decided to freeze your eggs.
I'm still in the decision-making process, but I think that it's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Kimmy.
I know. Well, here's the thing.
Well, why would you not want to do that?
So I definitely want to do it.
Okay.
I really freaked out when I went to that fertility specialist that time, and he told me that, it was lights out in the building.
Mm-hmm.
But he did tell me to come back in 5 months, and then we would do another, ultrasound and see how everything's looking. And so it's been now 5 months. So now is my time to be able to go back. I just haven't made the appointment yet.
Okay. Can I give some advice really quick?
Yes,
that
please.
I give all of my friends behind the scenes. I just never have had the opportunity on the show to share it. But
yeah.
So I think we're going to find out at some point, it'll probably have to be a whistleblower, how dangerous IVF probably is. Because it never felt right to me that I was going to inject myself with all these hormones. But I did it anyway because I was also kind of in that world of, well, everyone else is doing it. Everyone else's babies are coming out healthy. Everyone else is seemingly safe. And then I had a lot of pain in my head. I was taking the progesterone shots and I was suffering. And I remember calling my doctor and be like, I want to drive my car through a brick wall. And she's like, stop taking the progesterone. And so long story short, at some point after the second cycle, we found out I had a brain tumor.
Wow.
Was it there before? I don't know. Did it come as a result of this? I don't know.
Mm.
I'm assuming it was there,
Mm-hmm.
and it grew exponentially in that moment of IVF. So my thing with all of my friends, I always say is, before you do it, please get a full body scan.
Mm.
You're already investing in this experience. I know right now it's not covered by insurance and it sucks.
Yeah.
But if you can save and do an outside body scan where they scan you head to toe just to make sure there is nothing already there that's going to grow.
Yeah.
Right? Hormones grow things. That's why my doctor wouldn't let me get pregnant later, ultimately, because there's still a brain tumor in there.
Mm.
And that will grow. Now imagine if it wasn't benign.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I always say, get a scan, make sure you're good before you do this. And then secondly, there's also another option to entertain. If you have eggs naturally, you can find a doctor that will do a natural round. They don't advertise it because it doesn't come with as much money.
What?
You can get a natural round of IVF done. My doctor told me all about it, and I share it with people all the time. You can have a natural round done where you just have to take the trigger shot to ovulate in time for the surgery for them to extract the eggs. Now, are you going to have 5,000 eggs? No, but you also don't have to do all the hormones, and you can get whatever your body is giving you then and maybe do it a few times.
You just blew my mind wide open. I have never heard of that.
Yeah. Nobody talks about it because the price of IVF is so high. But with a natural round, not so high because you're not doing all that stuff.
Oh, I want to do that.
Yeah. So you'll have to do the surgical center.
But it freaks me out that, because I was literally just talking to my boyfriend about this because we're just like, we're in this together. If this is like, what we're going to be doing, then this is what we're going to be doing. And at least to have the safety net, which I like the idea of that, but the idea of the constant, pumping. And I've just heard horror stories, obviously, of people who just like, they feel crazy. And I'm like, in our industry, when do I have time to feel crazy? I've got shit to do.
You don't.
I've got talking to do. I can't be
It's really hard.
It was enough when I was trying to do my job while having all those other issues that I was having. I felt crazy. I felt so disconnected.
Plus you just cleaned your body out.
Yeah.
Because I had the SIBO and all that stuff was resonating with me, right? So you just cleaned up your whole body. And now you're going to introduce this.
Yeah,
I know.
So I think it's an option that people don't know about, and then they can't explore it. But
who do you go to for that? You just have to find someone who does.
You have to find someone that will do it. I know Dr. Wendy Chang in Beverly Hills has said it is possible. So you can look her up. I can connect you with her, obviously, because you're here, and I can share that with you. But I think that it's something that we're going to start to see down the line. I think that, anything that not natural. The other thing you'll have to think about, and again, this is an insider exclusive, guys. I'm learning about the dangers of blue light through this show, which is why I have my blue light glasses on. But when we tested our embryos, they have you test your embryos to see if everything's good. It's a natural thing. You're going to be like, yes, I want to do that. Well, now what I realize is we put our precious cargo under blue light with a microscope. The rawest form of my child was introduced to blue light. Whereas if it's a natural, sperm meets the egg inside, everything's cooking inside your body. Yeah. That's not happening. So now I'm rethinking the whole embryo testing thing. I don't know what the solution to that is yet, but, or what I would do is say, test it in real sunlight. Yeah. Don't test it indoors in a lab. I want you to test my embryo outside. That's probably the only thing I would do. But these are the things that nobody really talks about and knows about, but these are the things that I've learned the hard way that I'd like to share.
Well, because people think like it's very like woo woo to talk about. And even in talking about getting off birth control, I had plenty of people who were like, you can't talk about this. Like they're already trying to take our rights away. And like to have these conversations can be dangerous because it's just perpetuating that. And I'm like, I understand. And I hear that. But it doesn't mean that we don't talk about it. It doesn't mean that we don't give people the information. The point of having a choice is that you have a choice. But in order to make one, you have to have all the information.
Yeah. Exactly. Some information I want to share with you, friends. Heal Squad. Our friends at Macys are here. And they're ready to help us with their personal styling program that is free. So if you have any fun plans coming up the rest of the summer or coming into fall, any kind of back to school things, work attire, use their free personal styling program. It is amazing. And if you want to see any of the styles I have personally curated, you can go to my Macys wish list in the podcast description. Also, Kamie and I in the last episode talked about our love of Way hair care products. My favorite go-tos officially are the leave-in conditioner and the hair oil. Which one do you like, honey?
I like the leave-in conditioner.
That's the one you use. You've never used the hair oil. I think you would like it.
I'm in.
Okay. Well, you have it. You just have stuck with the leave-in conditioner. But listen, you're using what works for you. If you guys would like to elevate your hair care, you can also try Way products. If you go to OUAI.com, use the promo code Heal Squad, you'll get 15% off your next order. You can also take a quiz on their website to see what products will work best for you. So I hope you enjoy. Now, friends, I have to go do my quick diabetes doctor appointment. But you know what I know Kevin's going to be excited about?
What's that?
He's going to be excited to take over, Kamie, talk all catfish with you, and then I'll be right back.
Well, and
if the doctor appointment goes longer, please talk about Sports Illustrated because she's so insanely gorgeous. Those pictures.
But even Sports Illustrated is like incredible.
Thank
I'm
you.
done
You know,
now.
Thank you.
What year was your first one?
Oh, it was 2022. I was like freshly post breakup. And so it was like my little revenge moment.
That's a big revenge.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about, no, but seriously, like for you famous people, because I've been the guy on the other side who had to go into a liquor store and see the famous girlfriend like up on a poster. Yeah, it's like the worst. Like, so it's like there's no better form of revenge.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Was it a famous person that you were with before?
Oh, no. No, I've never dated a famous person.
Wow.
No, it's never appealed to me.
And the same with Maria.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
It's never appealed to me.
Okay. So that's huge, by the way.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you think of your act, that's like a pinball machine. Like, Miss US, Teen USA, Sports Illustrated, then obviously with Catfish and the other stuff.
Yeah.
But for Sports Illustrated, what was that like?
Oh, I mean, it was a dream come true that I felt was going to happen for me. But to be honest, and this kind of negates everything I said in part one, I was too afraid to go for it. So No,
I like that because it shows you're human. And I think people need to hear that. No, because, sometimes when we come out in the show and we appear to be so fierce. Yeah. Then sometimes people hearing me, I could never. Yeah. So it's actually really refreshing to hear that you were scared.
Yeah. I mean, it was along the lines with, being a TV host and moving to LA. And I was just like, I'm going to be just like all the other beauty queens. A lot of beauty queens wanted to be in Sports Illustrated swimsuit. Like that's like the pipeline. That's the goal. Right. It's like Sports Illustrated, E-News. That's what all the beauty queens wanted to do at the time. And still do. And I would see they had this thing called Swim Search. They still have it where like you can post on social media and be like, hey, Sports Illustrated swimsuit, like this is why I want to be a model for you. This is what I do. This is who I am. Like, and I would see so many girls that I know putting themselves out there every year posting. And I was like,
it's a public post.
It's a public post. Oh, everybody sees it. You put like a video of yourself in a bikini, and that part, I was already posting bikinis. That didn't scare me. But the idea that I could put myself up for something and get rejected scared the shit out of me. I was like, I can't. But I had it in my mind that like, if it's meant to be for me, it will come to me. And, I was seeing this throughout college and, into me hosting. And it just so happened that in 2022, my modeling agents at the time were reached out to by Sports Illustrated swimsuit. One of the girls there was a huge Catfish fan, and she just texted my agent like, Kamie Crawford ? And he was like, he sent it to me and he was like, would you like want to meet with Sports Illustrated swimsuit? And I was like, is that a question? Like 1000%. And I had a Zoom with that girl and MJ Day, who is the editor-in-chief of Sports Illustrated swimsuit. And we talked for like an hour and a half about everything except for modeling and TV and like swimsuits. Like we just were talking just chit-chatting, like girl talk. And then at the end of the call, MJ was like, yeah, so we're so excited to have you in the issue this year. And I was like, yeah, I really hope to get the opportunity one day. And it just didn't register. It didn't register that it was real. I thought this was like,
an
audition.
Kamie, we got the gig. Come on.
I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I really hope to, talk to you guys some more and like let you know who I am. And they were like, okay, so we just keep chit-chatting. And they were like, yeah, so the shoot, when we have the shoot, we're going to go to, and I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry. Are you saying that I'm in it? And they were like, yeah, that's like why we did the Zoom. I freaked out. It was like the best moment. They thought it was just priceless. The fact that I didn't know that I had already like booked the thing. But I think too, though, they do, like, if you meet all of the girls who are part of this, everyone is so genuine and kind and like incredible and amazing.
Was it always like that? Had you heard what it was like say 20 years ago?
They do a really good job at like weeding out people. So you don't have to be invited back. Like, you get invited back. Just because you've done it once doesn't mean you'll get to do it again. Mm-hmm. So I think that they just have over the years just figured out a way to like weed people out, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so to be invited back 3 years in a row is like, it's a dream.
You're part of the 60th anniversary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was a huge one.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, it's such an honor. I got to meet Tyra Banks. Like, what? It's so crazy. Christy Brinkley and I like had a moment.
How tall is Tyra? Is it like when you see? No, I know her because it's like,
yeah.
And when I first met her, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well,
this
I'm
is really
5'9".
a supermodel.
So I think she's like 5'10", maybe 5'11".
5'11", probably.
Yeah, I think she's got to be 5'11".
When I saw her, it was like 5'11", then had the high heels.
Yeah,
but it
right.
was just like, because me was 5'9", like you. So I'm, but I was like,
wow. Yeah. I know. I met Kate Upton, like all of the OGs. I was just like, wow, like, just incredible.
What did you talk to Christy Brinkley about?
I don't even know. I think we had two different moments. We had one moment at the launch, and then we had another moment in Florida where we were both like airing out our dresses in front of a big fan because it was so hot. We were just like standing in front of a fan. So sweet. Like the sweetest ever. Most beautiful. Like, these women are iconic, literally, but you can tell why when you meet them, like when you're around them.
Were you able to talk to Tyra?
For like 5 seconds.
Because for business, she's brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
She's so smart.
I know. She just opened up an ice cream store. I'm like, what?
Yeah, she can do anything.
She can literally do anything. And even just, I've admired her as a host for so long. I used to watch the Tyra Banks show. Obviously, I watched America's Next Top Model, but the Tyra Banks show religiously.
Multiple layers of success.
Yeah.
And she has a story too with IVF and going through the whole thing to get her one baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went through it.
I did know that, but I didn't know the backstory.
I mean, also like you probably when you first met them, you might have just been a little.
I met her on the private plane going to the Florida launch, so I just kind of walked by and was like, like curtsying.
Yeah, you didn't want to bother her.
I mean, I didn't think that it would be a bother. It's just we are like working, like all of us are working so hard during launch week. It's like boom, boom, boom. And I'm not like an easily starstruck person, but I am very much in awe of hard workers.
You're just impressed. Yeah, no. There's a difference between starstruck.
Yeah.
By the way, starstruck, for people who've earned their stardom, it's okay.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like I'm in awe and starstruck, and I'm for what certain people have accomplished. I am of you, Kamie. Everyone has done it because it's to get to that level. I think that's what the younger generation has. They don't understand because they see like their friend from 8th grade is now a huge Instagram star. But we came up in a world where for you to get to Teen USA alone, but then Teen USA and Catfish and Swimsuit, like that's just stuff that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if anyone who gets there, to me, I take my hat off, and I am in awe. All right, we're going to take one more break, Kamie, and then at long last, will you please indulge me with some Catfish?
Yes.
All right?
You've earned it.
I've earned it. Okay, we're back, Heel Squad. I'm back with Kamie, co-host of Catfish. Okay, so Cam, I do this thing on Regular Guy Friday. We have a Friday show here. It's a little much lighter of a vibe. Believe it or not, even lighter than this. But you ever get those random texts from, and they're scams?
Yes, every day.
Yeah, and they're trying to catfish you.
Yeah.
To get you onto this thing called Telegram or Telegram.
Oh, I've gotten some for WhatsApp.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have spent the last 2 years trying to be catfished.
What?
So when they hit me, I go right back at them. I'm like, oh, I'm widowed.
Stop it right now.
My staff of 300 wants me to meet someone. Where are you?
Stop.
I'm in my ski lodge in the Swiss Alps here alone. Yeah, I do everything to get catfished. And really my goal is just to waste all their time.
Yeah.
So I keep them going and going and going, and then they'll try to get me over to Telegram, and then that's when it ends up becoming the deal breaker. Because I play old rich boomer,
right?
To give
Which
away
is
all my money.
That's their target demographic.
I'm trying to get on Telegram. I can't. Okay, so this is how much I want to be catfish. So much
You're making my job harder.
I love the world of catfish. So tell me about God, I don't even know where to start. Well, no. Can you say Can you share one of your most memorable experiences from the show?
I mean, the great thing about the show is that every single episode is so different.
It is.
So
yes.
People will always be like, "How do you prepare?" There's no preparation. Like, I just sit in silence and do my makeup in silence, and try to just clear my mind from the last one that we would have just filmed, because this one could be completely different. We don't know what we're walking into.
Okay, I'm assuming everyone's a Catfish fan like me.
Yeah.
But so let's just preface it. This is a show. These guys had done it for a film, right? A documentary film.
Yeah.
And it's covering people who are falsely putting out a false portrayal of themselves in an attempt to date somebody.
Yeah.
And that's the definition of you being catfished.
Yeah. I mean, I think people are familiar with the term catfish, but don't know that the show is what originated the term and the documentary. So the documentary came out in 2011, and then the show, I think MTV bought the show a year later after it premiered at Sundance, and it's been on ever since. So I've been on the show for the past 6 years. I replaced Max. He was the co-host before. And it's a show basically where we get people who have been talking to someone online for however long. And for whatever reason, the person that they've been talking to, they haven't been able to meet for one reason or another, many reasons for some other people. And basically we do the research, figure out who that person is, where they're located, and get them to meet for the first time. But typically the person that they are portraying is not who they really are, whether it be physical or, the details about their life. So there are plenty of different ways to be catfish, that is for sure. And I have seen all of them.
And do you have one episode that really that you can share? That one of them. I'm sure many stand out, but one of them.
So many. I mean, the one that I think makes me sick to my stomach the most was we had an episode where a young guy from Michigan, he was 16 at the time. At the point when we were talking to him, he was in his early 20s. He was engaged to this girl, and the girl basically wrote in and was like, oh, "This is my fiance. I'm in love with him. I want to walk down the aisle to him. I want to take this next step in our relationship, but I know that he still has feelings for his childhood crush, who was this girl that he met on Xbox when he was 16 years old." And so we get with him, and we're talking to him. He's telling us the story, and had this tumultuous relationship in high school with this girl who, was 18. Or I think she said she was 18. I don't even know. She was a teenager also, though. Both teenagers. They met on Xbox. He was madly in love with her. And, she put him through a lot. And then they ended up breaking up, and he basically never heard from her again. Long story short, fast forward, we meet the girl who's actually the girl in the pictures, and we're thinking that that's who he's been talking to. Come to find out, it was actually her mom. And her mom was in her 40s talking to 16-year-old boys on Xbox. Now, immediately, I'm like, this is criminal activity. You should be in jail. The age of consent where he was from in Michigan, I believe, was 16. And so there was nothing to
so it went from criminal to creepy.
very, very creepy. She was like, I was going through a divorce and I was having a rough time, and I
But
was
using
finding
her
connection.
own daughter's image.
Oh, it gets worse. She was using her nudes that she would like go into her daughter's room. Yes. Go into her daughter's room in the middle of the night while she was sleeping, take nudes off of her phone. And
Kamie.
yeah.
Because I can already tell who you are.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oh.
Do you met her in person?
No. Thankfully, this was a Zoom episode. This was during COVID because No. For her safety and the safety of others.
Right?
I'm glad we were in separate rooms.
Oh
but I was like...
What did you say to her on Zoom?
They actually...
I'm sure they edited a lot
They
down.
edited like half of what I said out because I was like, I don't feel bad for you. Like, you were going through a divorce. You were 40 years old taking advantage of a 16-year-old boy, putting him through all of this emotional turmoil. And now imagine finding out that you were talking to this grown woman, like what that would do to him and your daughter. And her daughter was on there, and like they had mended their relationship, but her daughter was in full-blown tears and just like felt awful and was just like, I have been able to rectify things with my mom, but the impact that she has left on all of these guys, because there was a multitude of guys.
How do you really, as a young person, your mother violates you in that way, takes pictures of you,
yeah. Well, she was taking the pictures that her daughter was sending to her boyfriend at the time.
Okay, so
yeah,
it's not okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's still just like what?
Yeah.
Like you're like diabolical. And she was on Xbox, like talking in like a young girl's voice and like pretending. And she was just like, I just didn't know what to do. And she's sobbing, and I was like, I don't feel sorry for you at all. I think you should actually be in jail.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what the age of consent is. You are an adult, and that's disgusting. Unfortunately, there was nothing that could be done, but it was just really, really gross. A gross day at work for me. I had to take 10 showers after that.
What's one of the saddest ones?
Ooh.
I know there's a lot of sad ones.
There's a lot of really sad ones. I mean, you never really know how people are going to be affected. God, there's so many. There's so much. I think there's a lot that we hear that doesn't actually make it to television because of, legal reasons or what have you. But we did do an episode with a girl who was a survivor of sex trafficking when she was like 15 years old. And it was as a result of her talking to somebody online that she thought was a friend. And she was like having issues in her foster home or something like that. And she just needed to get away. And she had texted the guy that she thought that was like her age, that was her friend that she had met. And he was like, oh, I'll meet you here and like pick you up and you can stay at my place. It ended up being somebody way older. And she was in sex trafficking for quite a while. And, was obviously raped and taken advantage of and abused. And, then she was able to escape that situation. Thank God, got out of it, and still ended up meeting a guy on the internet that, she started dating. And this guy had like made arrangements with her to meet up with her and a friend of hers. And he said he was going to bring one of his friends. Come to find out that the guy was catfishing her. And to me, she broke down, obviously, but I was enraged because this guy knew her past. He knew what she had been through. And he was older than he said that he was. He didn't look anything like what he looked like in his pictures. And he was very, apologetic, but I was just like, that's not going to cut it, because you could have put her in such a dangerous position. Number one. Number two, the trauma. Like, she's already been through this before. Imagine
talk about a predator.
A predator.
Right,
like, imagine if she
that.
would have met up with you and brought her friend to the situation, and she meets you and you're not the person. Like, that could have caused who you don't even know.
Were you able to confront him in person?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yes.
How did that go?
That one, I think, went over okay. I think that they also cut out some of the things that I said to him because I think, he was still trying to like have a relationship with her of some kind and like apologize. And I was just like, no, like I said, I'm the oldest sister. I don't play when it comes to the people that come on our show. Like, I immediately take, defense and their side. It is interesting though. There have been times where I'm on the person that we're helping side, and then we end up meeting the catfish, and I switch.
Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm. It happens. We had an episode where, we were helping this guy, and he was talking to some girl. I don't know. I don't even remember the specific details, but when we met the girl, she wasn't the girl in the pictures, but he had been taking money from this girl for quite a while. Like, she had been offering to send him money. He had been asking for money. He had gotten a lot of money out of this girl. And when we met her, she was like, I showed him pictures of me, but he said that I was ugly, and he said that my voice was ugly. And so I was like, oh, just kidding. That's not me. This really is me. I was just playing a joke. And I was like, and he was like, well, yeah, because she was ugly. And I was like, excuse me. Like, who are you to say that?
Right.
She wasn't too ugly for you to accept her money. You were accepting her money, hands open. And I just completely switched, and I told him that he wasn't shit. Yeah.
I love it.
I am fair.
Yeah. Well, tell me, so that's why you do the relationship podcast, right?
Yes.
So is this advice for all relationships, single people?
I say all relationships. So, whether they be romantic, work relationships, the relationship you have with yourself, which is the most important relationship that you can have, I always say. Our relationships with social media, relationships with politics. It could be anything.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's I know we're going to want you back here, Kamie, at some point, but I think we should definitely do a deep dive.
Yeah.
In just all those relationships.
Yeah.
Because I've never looked at it that way.
And I
don't think most of us don't. We think of a relationship as like, okay, my parents, my siblings, my girlfriend, boyfriend, my friends.
Mm-hmm. But then you think about the relationships in your life and how separate they are, but they're all a part of you. Like your work besties and your hometown besties versus your adult besties versus your significant other versus your siblings. Like, you are. But I think your relationship with
social media, like you said, you just made me think of all those other relationships we have.
Yeah.
That are relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't think of them. Mortals don't.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But,
yes.
Yeah, but you're making me think about, and I think that's a really great thing. And so, relationship, the podcast, but I do think we need to break a lot of these down.
Yeah.
Because I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
So interesting. Yeah. Even me, I've been thinking lately, I don't feel so good after social media.
Who does? It's the worst place ever.
So it's like Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. And
for
that reason,
I'm out. Yeah.
But I think I'm out. My new thing is going to Facebook Marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And I just look at used things.
Yeah. I love Facebook Marketplace.
To buy.
No, it's great. I think for me, TikTok has become like my vice. When they were talking about getting rid of it, I was like, what am I going to do with my time? But I actually think if they got rid of it, I would have so much more time to do other things. Because the doom scrolling is just out of control.
But I even do that on Instagram and YouTube because they're all copying it now.
Yes.
You'll just fall right down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, that's why they call the phone the adult pacifier. Because it's like anytime you're uncomfortable, you reach for your phone. Anytime you're bored, you reach for your phone. Anytime you're excited, you reach for your phone.
Yes.
So many times I'll be on my phone doing something and I'll just click the other apps, click Twitter, click just to see what's going on. Why? I don't need to know what's going on.
No, we don't. And you know what I'm concerned with now is my daughter. She's only a year, but she sees me pick it up.
Mm-hmm. But you see kids picking up the phone. Kids are on the tablets,
I'm trying
the phone.
you know what I kind of feel like, Cam, is that I'm going to be the dad who smokes and then tells my kid not to smoke.
Yeah.
Yes. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be that.
Yes.
So I got to start refraining.
Yeah.
Kamie, this was amazing. I'm so glad we finally met you.
Yes, me too.
And it's Relationship is the name of the podcast. Where do we find you online? Because you're someone you got to follow.
Yeah, at Kamie Crawford on everything, and then Relationship airs every Friday, and we have our own socials for that too.
Amazing. Okay, well, as Maria likes to say to everyone, make good choices, be nice people, for the 900 shows, and stay present.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.